Hello. Hi, and welcome to At Home with Jeremy Monteiro. This is my last live stream on Sundays. It's like the last episode of season 1. I've been doing this since the start of the circuit breaker in Singapore. Been really a pleasure to spend time with all of you and chit chat and play music for you, and also to just hang out. And it's always a pleasure to be here with you. I see that we have some people already on our various pages. Please help me out by sharing the link for the show, as well as starting your own watch parties and so on, so that we can have a nicer, bigger crowd that goes on. Okay, so today I've got some really nice items for you. Firstly, I'm going to play an item where I reprise the performance from the Here 65 show last night that was produced by Bandwagon and supported by National Arts Council. I'm going to play the song that I sang on the show, Smile, together with saxophonist Sean Hongwei. I'm also going to have on the show the founder of Bandwagon, who I've known since he was in his teens, Clarence Chan, and he has built Bandwagon to be a really important platform, online platform with great content and a reach that's across Southeast Asia. And also together with National Arts Council is doing this Here 65 program to support and increase the interest in music in Singapore and helping musicians and bringing everything together in one cogent presentation, so that we all can know what all of us are doing. Both the musicians, will know what other musicians are doing, and the audience will know what we are doing, and also avail yourselves to our music. So that's nice. And then I'll do an interview with Clarence as well as Sean Hongwei, and then we'll play the item. I also will play for you at the end of the show. I was going to have Antonia Bennett on the show today, but because of a technical glitch, our item is not ready. So I'm going to present that on episode 1 of season 2 on July 5th. But I'll still play an item from our recent concert together in December. So you can catch that towards the end of the show. And later on as well, during the middle of the show, I'll be sharing an interesting item, a song that I wrote together with my very good friend from Hong Kong, the great guitarist Eugene Pao. We'll play our composition, De Paris à Segre, which also in English means From Paris to Segre, which was inspired when we were traveling on tour and traveling from Paris to Segre to perform in Europe. On that tune, I also include an orchestral arrangement, my first in 20 years, using sample sounds from the BBC Symphony Orchestra. So catch that, sort of dusting my orchestration chops and working on that. And I'll be playing live for you as well. In fact, I'm going to start off the show playing live for you now. This is a tune composed by the great Malaysian pianist Michael Virapan, and we have been playing together for a long time, 2 pianos, and occasionally I play on the organ and he plays on the piano. And this is his tune. He humbly says that he wrote this tune because it was too difficult to play Confirmation, the Charlie Parker tune. But this is also a very difficult melody. In fact, it's a very lyrical melody against the changes of Confirmation. So I hope I don't mess it up. In case you're watching, Mike, sorry for the mistakes in advance. This is Michael Virapan's Consequence. Enjoy. Thank you very much. And that was Michael Verpen's Consequence. Fun to play. So Michael's going to join me on my birthday concert, virtual concert, which will be broadcast on, I haven't fixed the date yet. This is the last week before, last week of being in my 50s, and then I turned the big 60 on Saturday. And feeling very, sort of reflective and just thinking about my mortality, and also reminiscing very on wonderful highlights of my life. And just before I cross this threshold, I'm told by my older friends, you're still young, and I do believe them. I still feel young. I think I feel about the same as I did when I was about 45. So at least physically and mentally, I become a bit, nowadays, I really become very forgetful. In fact, nowadays, I really have a problem with remembering things. And one more thing, nowadays, I really have a problem with remembering things. So, yeah, I guess passage of life, So, I'm now going to play an interview I had with the young saxophonist Sean Hongwei, who I'm very happy has appeared on the scene. A fine young man, also a wonderful musician. He plays lead alto saxophone in both the Jazz Association Singapore orchestras, and he also actually his first love is the tenor saxophone. He sounds really great on it, and he's playing tenor on the track that I'm going to feature in just a while. And I also have the founder and my friend Clarence Chan, the founder of Bandwagon, and here 65, and just a really, really dynamic and amazing young man, and he's still very young. So here it is, our chat. Hi, Clarence Chan.
Hello.
And Sean Hongwei. Welcome to At Home with Jeremy Monteiro. Glad to have you guys around to chat about that wonderful project that you just finished with your team for Bandwagon and for Kier 65, Clarence. It was really a wonderful initiative, and so glad that you could allow me and my friends to be a part of it. Let me first ask you guys, what have y'all been doing while being more or less stuck at home, and all the shenanigans we've been able to achieve while being stuck at home? How about you first, Clarence?
For me, the thing that I love the most is you really save on travel time.
Yeah.
So normally when I go to the office, it's about 45 minutes per way. So every day I kind of add like an hour and a half to my time.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. And I stay alone, so there's not much difference. I basically moved my computer from my room into my living room. So I've got a big space. Then I have my keyboard here and my piano behind. Yeah. So the good thing is sometimes when you need a bit of a break amidst the day, I can just go and play a short piece just to unwind and then get back to work. So that's something I can't do in the office because we don't have space to put a piano.
Yeah, but I love your Zoom background. I mean, that was a real place I will be hanging out with you a lot of the time.
Yeah, so let's hope all goes well for the business and I can actually get something like that. Jeremy will be my first guest.
And you, Sean, how have you been occupying your time, being stuck at home all this time?
I've been trying to get used to all soprano, alto, and tenor, trying to find my own voice on those instruments because each of them is a different instrument to deal with. Yeah, and mostly just waiting for Army.
Yeah, but don't worry, take it from Clarence and me. Army goes by very fast. It's next thing you know, it's over, and then you're back on your chosen path. So
hopefully
you get a vocation that allows you to also keep on making music and have time to practice.
Yeah. I hope
that's great. So Clarence, before I talk about the program itself, tell me what was your impetus to start Bandwagon, and how did you get started, and how did you move on to the Kier 65 initiative?
So the funny part, Jeremy, is that actually you were a big part of it.
Oh.
Because years ago, when I was probably 14 or 15, I went into a CD shop and I started hearing jazz for the first time. And before that, I was just a pure classical pianist doing your ABRSM grades. And it was about the same time that I caught Jeremy Monteiro live at this place called Jazz at Southbridge. Do you remember where it was?
Yes,
By the bridge from near the Parliament House. So I watched Jeremy play, and I was just mesmerized, and I began following him very actively, and other people like Mario and Aya. I started getting introduced to some of Jeremy's friends, and that inspired me to create a directory that showcases all the different gigs that are happening. Not just concerts, but even the kind of intimate showcases that Jeremy was doing, and he was pulling in huge audiences back then in a Jazz at Southbridge. So I created this site that just simply aggregates all this information, and it's a one-stop shop, one-stop source for music. And since then, it's just kind of evolved. We started writing more about the music, so that's where we went into publishing, and just by chance, we were trying to celebrate our birthday party, that just simply aggregates all this. That became an idea to start the events part of the business. And with because we have the digital media and also events, we thought of merging both to do live streams. And with COVID coming about, live streams became really important, as Jeremy, you yourself do very actively. So it's just kind of been like a natural evolution. Right.
Well, thanks. I mean, you're always very kind to talk about the genesis and the small role that I played in the genesis of your business. But I also saw that you've been posting videos of yourself playing the piano, and man, you're a wicked piano player. You should really stop being in the shadows and actually come out and show your prowess. And so buried, you should do that. See, your face is turning the same color as your shirt, but
I really get praised for music. Actually, the thing is, I haven't played in a while. If not for COVID, right, I wouldn't have really gone back to the piano. But I just want what I love is just the simplicity of it. Not having to turn on any electronic equipment, just going to the piano. And just, really simple notes. And I think the first song that I played after we had this quarantine circuit breaker season was Bill Evans' Waltz for Debbie.
Yeah.
The start is so simple, right? It's just a lot of notes, an A and then an E and an F together with a C. It just has this wonderful, a little bit of dissonance, but a very nice resolve. And it's just so simple, but it evokes so much emotion.
Yeah.
And I felt like this time at home, right, it's really simplifying our lives as well. And I thought that music really poetically, kind of was in line with what I was going through in the season. And it's just what I love about music.
Yeah, great. Hey, Sean, I mean, I've known you now since although they captioned you 19 years old on the Here 65 program, but I've known you now since you were like 17, right? And just nice to see your growth as a musician and see your passion and your love for the music and for playing the saxophone. So you feel like that the situation and the outlook is something that you can still rise above it and just continue with your mission? How do you feel about all of this?
I feel like with this whole COVID thing, it's like out of our control as musicians. So what I feel we can do right now is to work on ourselves, and once this COVID thing ends, like we will come back better as musicians and as people. So but I will still continue doing what I do, like working on myself, working on my music, so that when the whole thing ends, like I will come back like better than before.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's a very wonderful, positive outlook to have. I think someone asked, one of the questions that were actually sent to me by your team, but they didn't ask it, is what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received, Clarence? And the best piece of advice I've ever received is from the great comedian George Burns. Do you remember George Burns? The guy with the cigar and the white hair. He acted as God in the movie Oh God, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. And he was there in the days of vaudeville, right? So when I got a chance to meet him, I said, I read your book, Mr. Burns, the book was called How to Live to Be 100. I said, of all the advice you give, which is the best advice you think is in your book? I said, the best advice is, if you have a problem and you can do something about it, go and do something about it now. And if you can't do anything about it, just don't worry about it.
Wow.
That's his secret of longevity. And he predicted that he will live. His book is called How to Live to Be 100. And he actually lived to be more than 100 years old. So amazing. Yeah. So Clarence, I'd like to ask you about this initiative. Firstly about Here 65 and how it works in relation to Bandwagon itself, and also the initiative as well as this idea for this stay-home karaoke series that you did so well. What was the idea for it, and how do you go about doing it?
So Here 65 started about 2 years ago, and before that there was another 2 years of preparation before that. So the National Arts Council wanted to have a brand that encapsulated Singapore music, and for it to be a national movement that represented music across different genres. So they put up a tender, and Bandwagon got the chance to be selected, and we basically created this brand, which consists of both an online website with content, and we have a discography. Jeremy, a lot of your albums are there as well online. People, when they search jazz, they can search by era as well and see your discography over the years. And then we've got offline events as well that are for the music community. And with COVID, we decided to do a virtual event because we found that a lot of self-employed arts practitioners were short of work. Many of them are freelancers and were really tangibly affected by the pandemic. So MCCY and NAC and also Here 65, we wanted to create a project where we have the chance to work with everyone from different skill sets, project managers, business people, partnerships, sound engineers, musicians, dancers, artists like yourself. So in 2 weeks, we kind of put everyone together and created this 4-part series where every week we have 4 different artists across different genres. So Jeremy, I have to thank you for really graciously coming aboard. I think last night was so fantastic, just having you play and, having Joanna Dong as well, the new generation, Charlie Lim and Shaktia as well. And I think what was beautiful for me yesterday was seeing that unity between the musicians, that mutual respect and adoration. I think, Joanna and Charlie were so complimentary to how they really look up to you, and we also got a chance for you to do a rendition of one of your most famous compositions that all Singaporeans know, One People, One Nation, One Singapore, and a beautiful rendition with LMA. So yeah, I know just really thank you for joining this movement, and our hope is that in this time, though we are limited in terms of not being able to go out to physical spaces, but the hope is that together we can still create very meaningful content digitally and still engage many of our freelancers who may be very tangibly affected and find new ways to do new things that entertain people in a new way.
Right. Well, it's a great initiative to start off with. Of course, and congratulations on being awarded the tender by NAC to run Here 65. I think it's a wonderful initiative that brings people of all ages as well as all genres together. So Sean is looking at the ecosystem because you just sort of entered the ecosystem, right, as a professional musician and doing a lot of gigs, right? What strikes you most about the community of musicians, both jazz and other musicians in Singapore, and do you think that together as a community that we can all move to a better day? Sorry, I sound like, wow, I'm kind of prophet like that. To move towards a better day for music in Singapore and for musicians as well as the Singaporeans who enjoy our work.
I feel like because the community in Singapore, the music community in Singapore is pretty small, so we sort of like know each other, even though it's like across genres like jazz and maybe R&B. Yeah, so I guess what like I myself could do is like to open myself up more to other genres and be more open about playing things that I don't feel comfortable with because I'm not good at it. Yeah, and to try to create more different kind of music other than the ones I like.
Yeah,
and to me it feels like a second family, second home. Because more than music, like after the gigs and after the jam session ends and we get to know like each other, it's always like more than music. It's like friendship and family first.
Yeah.
Then when that's good, the music will be good.
Yeah, that's true.
Like to me.
That's true. Absolutely, I think that's correct, and I feel the same way as well. Anyway, thank you so much, Clarence and Sean, for joining me on this short interview. to talk about what all of us are doing. And also thanks again, Clarence, for allowing your team at Bandwagon has been really fantastic to work with, so accommodating, and also always very interesting how they have come back to ask me to vet and approve things. Of course, I didn't make any comments about creative judgments or artistic judgments because I never do that. I always respect whoever I'm working for. But it was very nice and very respectful the way that they dealt with me, and I think that's very heartwarming. So thank you, and thank you to all the members of your team. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeremy. We are really looking forward to more of your music. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Thanks a lot, guys.
And thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I really enjoyed that interview with Clarence Chan and Sean Hongwei. Clarence and his team at Bandwagon produced this series called Here 65 Sing-Along session, and 4 weeks, 4 different episodes, and different artists performing each time. Yesterday was kind of a bumper crop because besides my item, we had Joanna Dong, we had Shaktia, a new artist, and of course my favorite pop songwriter in Singapore, Charlie Lim, was also on. And on my segment, I had some really, really close friends and people who I really enjoy making music with. Jacinta Bishanathan was performing, and we sang a song, which is the song by Leon Russell called "A Song for You," and we recorded an album in Chicago on the American label First Impression Music, and the album was named in 2002 as one of the best SACD recordings in North America, together with Bob Dylan. So that was really wonderful working on that record with her. And I had Melissa Tam also singing Dick Lee's song Bunga Sayang. And I also had Alamé Fernandez singing a really wonderful bluesy gospel version of my composition with Jim Aitchison, One People, One Nation, One Singapore. And I would reprise all those tracks in the following weeks, but I thought that tonight I'd like to share the first track on last night's show on my segment, which featured Sean Hongwei on saxophone and me singing the Charlie Chaplin classic, Smile.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile, and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. Light up your face with gladness, hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Light up your face with gladness, hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Just smile. Just smile.
Thank you very much, Sean, for playing on that track with me, and thank you to Here 65 and NAC for allowing me to use that recording clip from yesterday's show. I'm going to play a song for you now. It's kind of a nemesis for me. It's actually a very simple song, and most jazz musicians can play it really well. Most jazz musicians play this like the back of their hand. But for some reason, although I know hundreds of standards, this is one of the most common standards that I can't memorize. And I actually said this to the great saxophone player, James Moody. I said, Moody, everyone, his friends call him Moody, not James. Moody, I just can't memorize Stella. Like it's ridiculous. Everyone knows it. I have a mental block for that song. And he says, oh, me too. I have the same problem. I don't know whether he was just being humble, because how can the great James Moody have a mental block for a tune, right? So anyway, that's what he said to me. Moody was amazing for always making me feel very at ease when I had a chance to play with him over a period of nearly 15 years here in Asia, and also in Europe, and in the US as well, in New York. So I said the other day to someone on an interview last week, to Todd Stoll, the president of the Jazz Education Network, usually the greater the musicians are, the more humble they are. And so I can attest that is very true when I deal with such legends like James Moody. Anyway, so here's Stella by Starlight. I shall try not to mess up, and hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Sorry, I turned on the backing track for two songs at the same time. Not a very good thing to do, unless I'm planning on playing two songs at the same time. Thank you very much. That was Stella by Starlight. A beautiful tune by Victor Young and Ned Washington. Now, I'd like to bring on my next guest. I've known him since the 1980s when I watched him play in Hong Kong at the famous jazz club in Lang Kwai Fong. And he is one of my Asian jazz heroes. And it's so great that we have got a chance to play together on a regular basis since around the early 90s until now. So he's my bro. Please welcome on this interview, Eugene Pao.
Hello, Eugene Pao, my brother in music.
Hey, Jeremy, bro.
How are you doing in Hong
you.
Kong? How's everything in Hong Kong?
I'm doing well. Considering
during
I'm
this
doing well.
months of long. When was the last time you had a gig? Was it when we played at the
Java Jazz?
Java Jazz?
Yeah, with you.
Wow.
That was the end of February.
Wow.
So like since then, I'm embracing my laziness totally. Couch potato.
Right. But
yeah,
you do
listening to music.
Yeah,
I do that anyway.
the World Cup, right? When you have the World Cup, usually you just watch. So it's kind of like the World Cup is going on, but no football.
But it's coming back.
Yeah.
In
So you'll be
weeks.
just relaxing and just
relaxing.
Yeah.
Watching TV, all the great TV shows and listening to music, listening to vinyl. I've been checking out, Pat's new album on vinyl.
Yeah.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Some Mild Smiles, So
great.
And bit of Lee Morgan. Yeah.
Fantastic. I think that's one great way to ride through the stay at home or lockdown or in Singapore we're calling it the circuit breaker, and that's one great way to do it. Yeah. But now you said that things are starting to open up again. That you have a private gig, that you're allowed to do private gigs in Hong Kong now.
Yeah, it's a function. It's like a private party function, and they because it's considered a private party, so it's not against the band, because the government had suspended the no live music ban for another 2 weeks. So all the clubs, like Salon 10 and Pew Fresco, they can open now to sell drinks, but they cannot have live music there, and still for another 2 weeks.
Well,
but private party is okay.
Yeah, well that's good. But I'm sure you'll take care and have your mask on and
yeah, I will. I will wash my hands and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'll be good to get out and see the guys, play some music. Yeah. It's not going to be jazz. It's going to be like Staying Alive, Bee Gees, to dance. Yeah, I know. Yeah. But still, it's still playing.
But that's the beauty about us, right? I mean, you and me, we play jazz, but we play any kind of music. If the gig, it's good music, pop music.
Yeah, it's good music. It's fun, Yeah. We don't take ourselves too seriously at our age, which is great,
I'm not far away from you. I'm going to have my big birthday on the 26th, on the 20th of June. So I joined the club on the 20th of June.
Yeah, 20th of June.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, of course, I'm planning this online birthday show, but that will be broadcast probably on the 11th of July or 18th of July. I haven't decided yet.
Okay. Because we were supposed to come to Singapore to play the actual show on that date, but of course, because of the virus, then now it get pushed back to December, right?
Right. Yes, that's right. And I hope that we will still be able to do it,
Yeah.
But, because with the social distancing or safe distancing, they might not be able to fill a whole concert hall. So it might be quite different, even if we proceed on December 11th, or it might be slightly pushed again. But I'm sure that, it'll happen,
I'm imagining if they kind of force to open, but then they say you have to skip a few rows, for people to sit, So it's going to be like one row empty and one row of people, one row empty, and people have to wear masks. That's not good, right? Because you want to play to an audience having a great time instead of like a few empty rows. So I think
well, I guess
it's good to wait till it's.
Yeah. But But I guess going forward it's going to be like this for a little while until they find a vaccine. But I mean, I'm just glad if we can play, So even if the Esplanade Concert Hall is 300 people, and then we live stream to the rest of the audience, what can we do? We got to adopt. We got to adapt to the situation. But I'm just reminiscing of all the wonderful times that we've been traveling. Eugene, I've said this before, and I know I embarrass you when I say it, but you are really one of my jazz heroes in Asia. I think one of the people that
thank you so much.
I look up to, and this your musicianship and your craft and your playing just mesmerizes me. And since the 80s, So,
man, thank you so much. Yeah, this traveling with you is always great fun. You know, those tours that we did with Taro Masahino.
Yeah. Remember that one time we played in the Budokan, the 7,000 seats indoor stadium.
Yeah. Yes.
That was unreal, right? I think that's the first time.
It's like it's like a rotating stage.
Yeah.
Right? Remember? We kind of like, and then we're on.
Yeah. But it's amazing that, we've done that. And then that was the biggest audience I ever played for before. So, I mean, in my career at that point, it was, I guess, the early 90s, and it was 7,000 people. And then, then we travel all over Japan and all over Asia, all over North America with that Asian All-Stars band led by Taro Masahino. Budokan, the 7,000, wonderful time, indoor stadium. And then, of course, when the band sort of retired, in a sense, after Motohiko Hino passed away, I'm glad that at least a few of us got together to just keep playing together. You and Todd Stolentino and Hong and that this band is still active, right? We still try and play as often as we can.
We had some great traveling moments too. London a few times, and Paris. It was great.
Yeah.
Traveling on a train, London to Paris. Traveling on the train from London to Paris and back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And remember, when we were traveling from Paris to Segre, this little town that a lot of French people don't even know where it is. It's near the big city of Angers, but Segre itself is like one of the best kept secrets, And I was so inspired by the sound of the train, chicka, 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 chicka. And then I wrote started to write this song called From Paris to Segre. And then I got really, halfway through the composition, I got really stuck. We work really well like this together, and I do a tune and I get stuck and I have no idea where to go with it. And then I throw it to you, and then you come up with the most brilliant bridge. And like this song also came up with such a great ending.
Thank you so much.
This nice way of working. In fact, I don't work this way with anybody else. I work with Ernie Watts to write, not in this way. So it's great that we should do more, of course, going forward,
Yeah, man. Yeah, I hope what I came up with was okay.
Oh man, it's fantastic. It's great. It's a magical part of the song. And so thank you so much for agreeing to record this again for me for my show, my Sunday show at home with Jeremy Monteiro, and I'm looking forward to finishing the track with you in the next day or so, and then.
Okay, great. I am too. First time for me, like actually playing on the track like this online like this. So I hope I can get all my sound together and play something nice.
No, I'm sure it'll be brilliant. And so Eugene Pao, thanks so much once again for coming on the show at home with Jeremy Monteiro and for doing this track with me. And always a pleasure to play with you, bro.
Always. Thank you, bro. And I just want to wish you a advance happy 60th coming up soon. And you've been doing so much amazing stuff, and I'm sure your next decade is going to be even greater. And I can't wait to see all the great things that you're going to do. And I will be so happy to be involved and go along, with you on the ride as well.
Yes, fantastic. I always enjoy that as well. And our travels and our fun and our meals and our new music.
Yeah.
So take care.
International Food Festival.
Food Festival.
Yeah.
Anyway, take care, and I'll see you again really soon, okay? Right.
Thank you.
And that was Eugene Pao, my dear friend for many, many years, more than 3 decades. He and I wrote this song. We had gone to play with the Asian Jazz All-Stars Power Quartet at a little town in France called Segre. And it's such a small town that I even asked French people if they know where Segre is. And very often they actually have no idea where Segre is. And Segre is located just an hour and 15 minutes away from Angers in France. And I love the place. I mean, I played at the very first, I was the very first artist of their first Savaire's Jazz Festival about 8 years ago, I think. And since then, it's become a really big festival with Herbie Hancock and Chick Corea and all the great musicians. So I was really happy to be the one who kick it off. And I've been back a few times, and I played again there as well. And they're very kind. The city of Segre made me their goodwill ambassador. So I have a really soft spot for Segre in France. So I wrote this song on the train part of it, and I went back and I formulated the next part of it, and I got stuck. And usually when I get stuck like that and I have no ideas, right, I know that it's because Eugene is supposed to compose the rest of the song. So I sent it over to Eugene, and he wrote just the most gorgeous bridge section, as well as a very dynamic, beautiful, harmonically and dynamically beautiful ending to the song as well. So we've played it in big band format, we've played it in duo format, we've played it with string quartet, but I decided that I was just itchy to experiment how it would sound to be with a symphony chamber orchestra. And so I did my first orchestral arrangement in 20 years when I was working on this track that Eugene and I did. And I used the sounds of the BBC Symphony Orchestra. So the orchestra you're hearing playing with us in the background, it's not the orchestra itself, but like hundreds and hundreds of hours of samples, so that I can use their sounds and create the backdrop of BBC Orchestra behind us. So here is De Paris à Segre, or in English, From Paris to Segre, featuring Eugene Pao. Thank you so much to Eugene Pao for playing on that track and for writing the song with me. Always fun making music with you, and I can't wait for us to be together again, to be able to play music again. And also, I can't wait for us to be together again. You, the audience, it's one thing for me to come into your living room like this and to play for you, and also to have you join me and respond to me. Thank you, Swanjin. And yes, Christo, those are samples of the BBC Symphony Orchestra. Pretty amazing, right? Of course, there's the trick. I haven't still gotten the trick of playing all the expressive things so that I can get all the different timbre and also the expression of the orchestra. But as I was saying, it's really very much something that I'm looking forward to. I don't think we'll be going back really soon in big numbers, but I think very soon they may let us, a few of us, they've already started actually small groups performing and streaming, and then later on, hopefully they will allow us to have some small audiences, safely spaced and all that. And moving forward, that we can actually be together again. So I thought what I'll do is I'll sing this beautiful standard by Carl Fisher and Frankie Lane. This is a jazz standard called We'll Be Together Again. And I'm sure we'll be together again. This is the last show in this series, the first series of At Home with Jeremy Monteiro. And then I take a break because I'm going to be really busy preparing for a few things. One is my the child aid. I'm working on child aid, and that will be on July 15th. But it's quite a lot of work. For that, I'm working with the great young pianist from Bali who lives in New York, Joey Alexander, and also I have another group with a young saxophone player from China who I started mentoring when he was 13 years old, and now he's 17, and he just sent me his letter of acceptance to enter University of Amsterdam's jazz program. He was so excited. And also Lee Ng, who's actually she studied chemistry and she's got a degree in chemistry, but she's going to be one of our great piano players here in Singapore. She's also on this show with me. And John Cole, who's a Jazz Association scholar studying in Berkeley now, is also on this item. And did I leave anyone out? Yes, Krishna Kanaya, who is just an amazing 15-year-old drummer from Bali. He will blow you away because he sounds like a combination of Dave Wackel and Steve Gadd and Omar Hakim all in one, plus the sensitivity he has for Balinese music. So look out for Child Aid. That's on 15. So I'll be working on that. And I'll be working on my birthday live stream show as well, which will be on either the 11th or the 17th of July. Not my birthday, but the show. My birthday is fixed. Just now I forgot what my birthday was and I said 26 June. Can you imagine forgetting your own birth date? I told you earlier on the show about my memory, right? So anyway, that one, my birthday is on Saturday, but the show will be 11th to 18th. On that show, I have amazing performers, notably Wynton Marsalis and also Carmen Bradford and Laura Fiji, many wonderful and great local musicians as well. So please look out for that, and I'll be working on that. But I won't abandon you every week. I'll still come and do my weekly piano virtual bar show on Thursdays for you. And I have I love playing. So that show is mostly just playing, chit-chatting, singing, playing. So I'll be doing every Thursday as well at 9 o'clock. So come and join me this Thursday. I'll be playing songs from the 60s this coming Thursday. So now I'm going to play this standard. This is called We'll Be Together Again. Enjoy.
no tears, no fears. Remember, there's always tomorrow. So what if we have to part? We'll be together again. Your kiss, your smile, our memories, our treasure forever. So try thinking with your heart, 'cause we'll be together again. Times when I know you'll be lonesome, and times when I know you'll be sad. Don't let temptation surround you, and don't let the blues make you bad. Someday, some way, we'll both have a lifetime before us. For parting is not goodbye, 'cause we'll be together again. Times when I know you'll be lonesome, and times when I know you'll be sad. Don't let temptation blues make you bad someday. Some way we'll both have a lifetime before us, for parting is not goodbye, 'cause we'll be together again.
Thank you very much for listening. Hi, Yonglun. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Matthew. Good to see you here. So I trying to toggle between the different pages that I have, and I see that we have about 60 people listening across the 3 Facebook pages and the 2 YouTube pages. The YouTube pages are not very well attended, usually 2 to 10 people only. I don't know why. Well, I like you on Facebook anyway because I can talk to you. I can actually see your comments and answer you and answer your questions. So, yeah, thanks so much. Hey, Galen. See? I can interact with people like this, which I love. Where did he comment though? Oh no, Galen's commenting on some other thing that I got a bit angry with today. Anyway, so I thought he was commenting here on the post. So I'm going to take this break from the show, but I'm back on July 5th, and on July 5th. I will have with me on the show Antonia Bennett. We were meant to do the item today, but there was some technical glitch and I couldn't get the material in time. And so technology is not always perfect. So we'll work on the item and do it for the 5th of July. But I thought that I want to just reminisce on a show that I did with Antonia, my second last public performance before the circuit breaker, and couldn't perform live anymore for a while. So I'm gonna now play a video from that concert. It's a nice big combo. Antonia Bennett singing, and she's singing my favorite things, and also in the band is trumpet player Tanya Darby, who's the head of brass at Berklee College of Music. Sean Hongwei is playing saxophone. On trombone is an American trombonist who lives in Kuala Lumpur. He plays often with the Malaysian Philharmonic Orchestra, Marcus Young. On bass is the great young bass player Ben Poh. That's one of our youngest great talents. And also on drums, my good friend for 30 years and colleague, the drummer Sean Kelly from New York, who lives in Bangkok. So here is my favorite things. Enjoy. We're going to bring on now our next guest vocalist. Had the pleasure of meeting her a few years ago when she came to sing in Singapore together with her father, Tony Bennett, and we became friends, and really happy to have her to come and sing with us. How about a hand for Antonia Bennett?
Hello. How's everybody doing tonight? I'm so happy to be back in Singapore. This is my second time here. I just love this country. And I hope I get to come back year after year and perform for you. satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into spring. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I'll simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper candles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with string. These are a few of my favorite things. Crisp apple strudel and warm woolen mittens, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodle, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into spring. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I'll simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad, so bad, so bad. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Antonia, for that wonderful moment of reminiscence, and looking forward to having you on the show on July 5th. And thank you, Michael Virapan, for that really nice arrangement of my favorite things. Michael was so accommodating, doing all the charts at a very late juncture because I took a long time to confirm the tunes, and it was not easy to get it together for me anyway, putting together the show. But Michael is always so fantastic, and a great partner on the shows that I do. So we've come to the end of tonight's show. I'm gonna probably play one more tune for you. As horrible as things may seem now. Before I go, I must not forget, because I forgot to also let you know that I do these shows under the auspices of the Jazz Association Singapore. And if you can help us out and donate to the Jazz Association, we do a lot of good work with young people, bringing the level of jazz up in the interest of jazz across the whole of Singapore, and also bringing Singapore jazz to the world, and bringing great mentors to come and teach us, and also having our scholarship program where we have 3 scholars studying, one in Singapore at LaSalle and one in Queen's College doing his master's, Rich Shee, and also John Koh doing his bachelor's at Berkeley, and the Singapore student is Brian Di Rosario at La Salle College. So please help support us. We can't do it without your help. And if you want to help us out, this is the link to go to jazzassociation.sg/gala donate. And this is where you can choose an amount to donate to us. And also, if you want to make a more substantial donation and become one of our Jazz Association ambassadors or Jazz ambassadors, and there's an opportunity to make more substantial donations. So jazz is not easy. It's not a commercial music. I mean, it's Black American music, American classical music, as it's been called by Duke Ellington. And so as an art form, it's a little bit more difficult than commercial music. There's a very cruel joke, you know, how do you become a millionaire playing jazz? You start off as a billionaire. Get it? So yeah, so it's hard to do it without the help of the audience and our very generous donors. And we have very generous donors and supporters. And please come and join us. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, $10 a month, even a $5 donation, $20 donation. And if you're a local tax resident, you get a 250% tax deduction. So if you give us $1 million, then you can get a tax deduction of $2.5 million. Oh, well, no, you know. So, but whatever amount, I'm just kidding you, you know, whatever amount, and you get your tax. That's if you're a Singapore tax resident. If you're trying to donate from overseas, you are very welcome to do so as well. And let me see if I can find it. It's here. So if you're from overseas, I know some people say, "Oh, Jeremy, we can't join Giving.Sg. Can you give us a link to donate from overseas?" Here it is. It's paypal.me/jazzassociationsg. So again, thank you so much. You guys are wonderful, keeping me company every week like this. I'll be back on Thursday for my regular virtual piano bar show, and back on July 5th with the At Home with Jeremy Monteiro, and look out for the other big shows that I'm putting online as well. And I like to close this show remembering that although things don't look good now, it is still a wonderful world. And I like to play this song composed by my friend, and it's amazing that I can say he's my friend, the late great George David Weiss. And this song is called What a Wonderful World. Thanks for listening. All of us at the Jazz Association really appreciate your support. And I love all of you. And thanks so much for joining me. Thank you. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself,
of blue and clouds of white. The bright, blessed day, the dark, sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? Really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry and watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. So I think to myself, what a wonderful world. colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful, what a wonderful, what a wonderful world.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Have a great week ahead. Thank you.